And then Gojo started charging at Sukuna, and we can see that Sukuna has blood coming out of his mouth. However, in this moment, we suddenly saw that Sukuna used the 10 Shadows Curse technique to save himself, and he summoned the Divine General Maharaga. And the last chapter ended by giving us a massive cliffhanger, and this cliffhanger is that Maharaga just destroyed Gojo's domain. So these spoilers start off by showing us Mei Mei, and she is saying that Maharaga is the trump card of the Zenin clan. And Choso said that the Shikigami can adapt to any kind of attack, and Yuji asked if this means that it adapted to Unlimited Void. And then in the next page the chapter switches focus to the battlefield, and we can see that Sukuna is walking alongside Maharaga. And in this moment the author is telling us that Gojo's Unlimited Void attack was destroyed by Maharaga, and this allows Sukuna to move freely. And Gojo was able to deduce that if Maharag is not the person who took the sure hit effective from the Unlimited Void, then this means it had to be someone else. And Gojo is thinking to himself, and he is wondering who this person could be. And then in the next page we get a massive reveal, and this reveal is that Sukuna forced Megumi's soul to take the burden of the sure hit effect, and this allowed Sukuna to remain unaffected. And then we see that Sukuna sent Maharaga back into the shadows, and in this moment we can see that he is walking towards Gojo. And Gojo sarcastically said that he is glad that Sukuna is fighting in such a desperate fashion. And in this scene the author is telling us that Sukuna wanted to get rid of the Unlimited Void, and this is why he made Megumi adapt to the Unlimited Void by using the 10 Shadows Curse technique. And so because of this, Sukuna wasn't able to use his curse technique other than what was applied to his domain. And Gojo said that if he uses his domain expansion, then Sukuna will have no choice but to use the Maharaga. However, Sukuna said that Gojo won't be able to activate his domain expansion, and when Gojo tried to activate his domain expansion, we saw that he got a nosebleed. And Sukuna said that Gojo overexerted himself when he recovered his burnt-out cursed energy, and Sukuna said that this is very risky. And in this moment we can see that Sukuna is just standing in front of Gojo, and he asked Gojo if he reached his limit. And in this moment we can also see that all of the sorcerers are very worried about Gojo. And Sukuna said that this time he will close his domain with a barrier so that Gojo can't escape, and all he has to do is cut Gojo, and adapt to the Unlimited Void. And in this moment we can see that Gojo fell down to his knees, and Sukuna just said, "See ya, strongest sorcerer," and he also said that Gojo is just an ordinary guy. And then in the next scene we see that Sukuna tried to open his domain expansion, however when he activated his domain, the malevolent shrine was instantly destroyed. And in this moment we can see that Sukuna has blood coming out of his face, and the reason why Sukuna is bleeding is because he was affected by the Unlimited Void for just 10 seconds. And the narrator is telling us that just like what happened to Gojo, Sukuna's brain was damaged, and so because of this, he can't expand his domain. And in this moment the author is showing us that Gojo is just laughing at Sukuna. And then in the next page we see that Gojo just started pointing at the crows, and Gojo said that since his students are watching him, this means that he has to look cool. And in this moment we get to see the reaction of the students, and we can see that they are all smiling. And in this scene we can also see that Sukuna is smiling, however his face is still very damaged. And then we see that Gojo suddenly started pulling Sukuna towards his body, and in this moment we can see that Gojo landed a very powerful punch on Sukuna. And while this was happening, we can also see that Gojo and Sukuna are both smiling. So this is where this chapter ends, and this is the end of this video.